Hello, my friends, and welcome back to There Are No Orcs. Hope you're all doing well. So I've still really been having fun with this game, and I've seen a lot of people say that they are having trouble getting wins with the Dwarf faction. Obviously, when you play this game, you choose one of the 30 possible characters, and they all play out extremely differently. So it can be pretty difficult to figure out how to get wins with the other types of factions. And the dwarves in particular, because their buildings both produce something but also cost something, can be difficult to find that balance where you can get wins. So today I'm going to show you easy ways to win with the dwarves and how to build a few of their different characters. We're going to start with the most basic one. This is Mira, the dwarf character that you start with. And so firstly, when you're looking at gear for the dwarves, the thing that you want, as with most of these races in There Are No Orcs, is starting gold. So that's what I really care about on our gear here, is additional starting gold, and then range unit damage is the next most important thing. So that's basically what we're looking for. Let's jump in and we'll start. So right away with the dwarves, I'm just pausing so we can talk about this at the beginning. You're going to notice that we have these parts workshops and recycling stations. The parts workshops generate parts, and the recycling stations generate money, and each costs the other. When you have one of each of these, it costs 20 and produces 40. So that's a total of plus 20 per cycle of each resource. So very helpful to just pair these, and then you always know exactly how much you're producing. So what we're going to do is get a solid economy right from the beginning by buying these items. I'm also going to add in some stock exchanges. I like to just put these along the bottom because this will give us extra cash income. So we're going to put down a couple stock exchanges. I'm not seeing any more recycling stations, but we'll keep buying stock exchanges. I also like to get one gun factory right off the beginning because we can use that to capture the gold mine right from the beginning and get extra money that way. Then we'll build a recycling station. And the easy way to keep track of these is just to build them in columns next to each other. I do want to find more parts workshops, so I'm going to roll and try to find those. I'm going to roll again, looking for another one. We missed a couple times. I don't want to use all my free rerolls, so I will throw in a construction office. We're going to want at least one of those, probably a couple of those. And now we've got our initial economy set up. I'm going to go ahead and do overloads on those two, overload those paired so they can produce each other's resource as necessary. And then we're just going to go to ×2 speed. So your initial starting setup, you may not have as much starting gold depending on your items, but it should look something like this. Here, I'm going to go ahead and buy a stock exchange. I like to just get the bottom row of stock exchanges, and then we'll put down a construction office. I'm still looking for more parts workshops to maintain my parts income, but we're only spending that on the gun factory right now, so it's still totally fine. Gonna do a free reroll here, and we'll buy a parts workshop and another one, and we're looking to basically, again, just pair these down the line. At this point, I'll put down a gun factory, because we want a few of these at the beginning. And let's do this, get a recycling station, and a recycling station as soon as we have the cash for it. Then I'm going to do one more reroll, looking for more recycling stations. And once we have this full setup, you will have 120 parts income, because you can just look down the line and see that each of these is worth plus 20. So we have 120 parts income, 120 cash income, once we have all of these paired together. And so we can support up to 120 parts worth of expenditures. I'm also going to, with this character, put a couple turrets, since we have all the parts that we need, on the gold mine, out of range of the enemy tower. And that way we can keep control of the gold mine, and then we're going to upgrade. When you're playing the dwarves, another really important thing to keep in mind is that you are a very late game oriented faction. So we want to boost our economy enough that we can get to that late game as quickly as possible without dying. So we're going to put down more stock exchanges, and then we'll put down another gun factory here. And now that we're tier 2, we have access to these retail stores. So firstly, I'm going to pause. I'm going to pick my relic. Training school, cost and output both double. So this is going to give us tons of parts, but at the cost of a lot of money. But this will make it very easy for us to maintain our parts income. So let's put down a training school here. And I'm only going to put one down. And then I'm going to drop a retail store. As long as you keep retail stores at a roughly 2-to-1 ratio with training schools, you still get very good income because it costs 30, gives you 60 gold. So that 2 retail stores will pay for the 100 gold normal expenditure of the training school. With our relic here, that's doubled, but it's still basically the same principle. And then these you can just put in the same column, and they will also, when you overload them, give you more money. So we're going to go ahead and overload both of our retail schools, and they will make everything in this column cheaper, and they'll pay for the training school, which will then pay for the retail stores, etc. So it's all about finding that balance. So I'm just going to make this our more expensive buildings column. Here I'm going to do a reroll, and I'm going to look for more training schools if we can find them. I also am going to need to find a few more. I'll put down one more stock exchange. I do want more money as well. And recycling stations we can also build as long as we're building parts workshops to go with them. So again, we always want to be pairing these buildings. And here's another retail store. Now that we've got 3 and I can overload all 3, I feel like we can support the second training school as well. So we'll do this. You can stack these all in the same column. They each give you minus 10% cost, which is just really good. And then again, we're going to spend some of our excess parts on dropping these turrets. You can also drop the turrets over here, and I think there is like a pixel you can get it where the enemy turrets can't shoot it, but if you put it there, you can see you do capture and start making progress on the second capture area. But the goal here was just to get enough money without dying that we can start upgrading to tier 3 as quickly as possible. With the dwarves, like I said, you're a late game oriented faction. You want to upgrade your tiers as fast as you can, because when you get to the late game, that's when your units become powerful enough that you can start getting wins. We'll put down some more stock exchanges just to accelerate that process. You see we're also, there's a few too many enemies here, so I'm going to drop another gun factory and a security center just to keep us ahead of enemy production, and then we'll do a drone factory as well. Grab a relic here. Marines fire a missile. This is a really good one, but janitorial office has a 20% chance for 5 times output. This is going to be how we go into the late game, is janitorial offices and ecology stations once we hit level 4. So we're going to take the vacuum cleaner here, but I won't put down the janitorial office yet. More on that in a second. Now I'm just saving money, and I'll drop a fuel refinery. We have plenty of parts income to support this. You can see we're still at very high parts income, and we're just using our turrets to buy us time. I could also put down the detection core now. I think we have the parts income to support this, and for this character, having the detection core down early will mean that our turrets will eventually get really high range. And that is one way that we can win. You can actually outrange the enemy buildings, so our turrets will happily be able to kill the enemy towers once we get enough of them. And again, putting down more turrets. As long as we have the parts income, we might as well do that. I'm going to save on dropping a drone factory, because I'm just going to use my turrets to survive. I really want to hit level 4 as quickly as we can. So here we go. We're pushing our upgrade button. Then we can relax and watch the fighting a little bit, though I'm going to make sure that enemies are not going to get to us by dropping a bunch of turrets. We have the parts income again. You may play with a few fewer turrets if you didn't find the better training schools upgrade, obviously. But this is still plenty to keep us safe. And as we continue to upgrade, we're going to be able to start really pushing our economy once we hit tier 4. So I'm just saving my money here. I also want to get to tier 5 quickly. So now that we're tier 4, let's go ahead and select our relic first. We could get 50% attack, but lose 2 parts on death. That's not bad. Or Tyrant Buster's attacks instantly kill enemy units with less HP. We're on a fairly high chaos level. Enemies have double hit points, so the Tyrant Buster attacks won't often do that. So let's just go ahead and take... I'm going to take that anyways, because losing a bunch of parts is still going to be pretty rough. Then I'm going to do a quick reroll here. We missed on the buildings we're looking for, but we can support a firearms factory, so I'll drop that. I'll put down another stock exchange, and we'll... Oh, one enemy sort of snuck past there. So let me get a couple more turrets just to stop that from happening. And I will save my money for a free reroll. Got another janitorial office, and how the janitorial offices work. So I will put these down. We're going to lose some tiles, but that's okay. So these, spend your empty tiles in order to decrease the cost of buildings in that column permanently. If you have at least 2 overloaded retail stores in that column, then they only cost 3 tiles to use. I'm also going to drop my assembly workshop here, and we'll put down another janitorial office. And as long as you have 2, you can decrease the cost of, they will decrease the cost of each other. So that's going to eventually make these free, and then we can use them to further make all of our buildings free, and that's how we'll win in the late game. In order to support that, we need one of these ecology stations. So we were going to reroll until we get one, and we'll put that down. Again, drop this in the same column so that it can be free, and we'll overload it so it goes as fast as possible. And then we will wait until we have a bunch of free buildings. Once all of our buildings in this column are free, we can spread out the janitorial offices to make every building that we buy free to activate. And so that's how you win in the late game with this faction. Meantime, I am going to drop down another stock exchange. I do want to get extra money, and we're spending a lot on the ecology stations and on this training school, which is no longer discounted. So putting down a couple income buildings never hurts. And we just need to stay just enough ahead of the enemy attacks, because once all of our buildings are free, we will have a very easy time crushing everything that they are sending at us. We have the parts to support it, so I'm going to put down a few more turrets. And now you can see our turrets have enough range because of the detection core, which gives extra range to our turrets, that we can actually siege down the enemy tower here for free. This janitorial office is now costing 0, so it should quickly discount the other one to the maximum level. Taking my free reroll here. I don't need the repair core because our turrets are just going to outrange the enemies. Wait for both of these to be at minus 100. And we can also upgrade to tier 5. Put down a stock exchange. And we can start building things like firearms factories, which again, these will quickly become free to use as soon as we can start spreading out our janitorial offices. So this one's at minus 90 currently. Let me also, I'm going to pause here. We'll take a relic. Overload capacity plus 5 is pretty good. Shop building slots minus 2 I don't really care about. So I am going to take that, and then let's do some overloads. So I'm going to overload our free janitorial office. Actually, we'll just overload both of them. All right, so they're both at minus 100%. So let's spread those out to where we can start discounting our other expensive buildings. This one still currently costs 1, so we'll let it go again, because it was getting the discounts from the retail stores. Then we'll do some rerolls here, and I can start spending money on rerolling. Sell this energy station for extra overload, and again, we can overload stuff. We'll overload some of these free buildings, like the training school, for more parts. And we'll overload our firearms factory, because it makes our combat mecha have faster attack, or further range. Then we'll do a reroll here. Put down another security center and a fuel refinery. Basically, just build a bunch of buildings here. We also have the parts, so we can start plopping down more turrets. All right, our janitorial offices should both be at minus 100, so let's spread them out across multiple files, and then we can discount everything. And here, yeah, let's get a repair core down to keep our turrets healthy. Why not? Pick up a relic here, and I'm just going to go with the helicopters one, because I just want to start building expensive unit production buildings as quickly as we can. So we'll spend money on these rerolls, that's fine, and I'm going to skip all the low-level units, but we'll spend some of our parts on turrets, and we'll do some rerolls. All right, here we go. An airship dock, and we can discount that to 0. We'll roll again. We've already got 1 repair core. That's enough to keep our turrets at full health. And we'll roll again and just keep re-rolling. Drone factories, sure, that's a level 3. And then let's go ahead and swap this to make all of these free. And we'll move this one over here so we can make all of our production buildings free as we keep building those. Helicopter factory. You don't need to get everything down to 0, but I guess these are all free already, so let's put this over here. You don't need to get everything down to 0, but the cheaper, just making all of your buildings cheaper is going to give you a tremendous amount of extra damage output and unit output. So let's just go ahead and drop all of these. I'll overload another detection core, and then our turrets can start having enough range that we can siege down the enemy backline. And so here we can actually start sniping their... If we want to, we can start sniping them from behind. I do need a one of the firepower centers that boosts the turret damage. I don't really care about the shield cores at all, so let's keep re-rolling. Another detection core for even more range. There we go, firepower core. So let's go ahead and overload both of those so that it's going to boost all our future turrets as well. Keep on re-rolling and re-rolling. We'll buy some more helicopter factories, and we'll move some of our buildings into this column. And again, we're just getting free buildings basically forever, so always just buying the most expensive unit production buildings we can. And then we'll just overwhelm the enemies with our airships as we push them forward. Shop no longer offers level 1 and 2 buildings is perfect, because we just want the most expensive buildings possible now that we've gotten our janitorial office combo online. Firearms factory, airship dock, and sure, another detection core. We're gonna get enough range on these on the turret backline that it's gonna start being able to pressure the enemies from all the way back at our base too. Also just gonna keep building more turrets because we have the parts income to support it. We can also, if we want, build up a group of turrets up here to start sieging down their base and speed up winning a little bit faster. More unit production. Keep everything getting discounts. Build some of these armor containers as well. It just boosts our damage output. At this point, you can start, or our unit health, but just makes our units better. At this point, you can, again, basically just buy everything arbitrarily. Just buy the most expensive thing that you can afford, because it's quickly going to become free. And then we just kind of get to watch the end of the game from here. So we're going to speed it up a little by building a few more turrets to keep the enemies dying. Now, we are up against a dwarf enemy, so they're a little stronger than they would be otherwise. Because they, too, are, as a dwarf, a late-game faction. But we've now got them turret locked into their base, and we're starting to really push it down. Sure, we'll take another relic. Yeah, whatever. Weapon container. For more damage on our units. And there you go. So that's a very simple way to get the win with dwarves. Basically, balance your economy by always buying the recycling center and the... by buying the 2 basic income buildings paired. And then when you get to the late game, use the ecology station and double janitorial factory to discount all of your buildings to 0. Then you just overwhelm the enemies with extremely high tier units. But let's go ahead and make sure that that's not a fluke, so we're going to show you how to do it with a different character. Here I'm going to use what I think is the easiest dwarf character overall. That's Claire, because Claire has this AI component building that basically balances your economy for you, because it always produces the resource that you need the most. Now, one thing that is going to happen here is that the whim of wealth, the chaos whim for chaos 33, is going to throw things off a little, because we are starting with a lot of extra money, but losing our current money every second. But we should still easily be able to show you how to win with this character as well. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm using the same gear as last time. Start with these 2 AI components, and these we're just going to go ahead and boost right away, and then I'll put down a recycling station, and we're going to do a very similar thing, except with Claire, I like to just build AI components along this back column, and then we will do parts workshops and recycling stations just as they show up in the shop. I'll also, again, put down a couple construction offices. I will still do a couple stock exchanges as well, because that will help us lean into cash income just a little bit more. Since we have the Whim of Wealth, we're also going to upgrade right away, because that's just going to start our upgrades going immediately, which obviously is very nice to get rolling right off the start, since we want to upgrade as quickly as possible, and since holding money in this chaos level is not going to be useful. Drop more parts workshops and more AI components, and then another recycling station, and here we go. So that's our initial economy setup here. I will make sure to overload 3 AI components, and you can see that it is creating cash when we need cash, and it will create parts or part capacity when we need those things. Here, let's go with another parts workshop. We've leveled up, so I'll keep dropping AI components whenever those show up as well. Let's also check what our relic is. I could go with parts bank book just for extra parts income. I don't want to reduce the attack of enemy towers and core because Claire has hack, which will make enemy towers and the core attack their allies instead. So we can use that to give ourselves a little bit of an advantage there. I'll just go with the donation agreement here. Kind of a dark setup. We'll keep dropping AI components and parts workshops, and we've got retail stores available as well because we're level 2 now. Definitely need to pick up a little more cash income in this Chaos Whim, so I'm going to go with retail stores right away also, and I will reduce our parts income requirements. Now here I have let an enemy get a little bit close because I didn't build a unit production building yet, so I'm going to put down an explosives factory here for spider mines. We'll just let that clear out that enemy while I continue to build up my economy by just building a bunch of AI components. And here I'm going to do a free reroll, drop another construction office. The spider mines are not like the unit that I would have gone with preferentially, but they're just the unit that showed up. So we'll put down a couple gun factories as well so we can take this gold mine also. And then here again, I'm going to build more recycling stations, more retail stores. We're just trying to maximize our total income of every resource. Yeah, another parts workshop is fine, and some more unit production buildings. Get a stock exchange. So this metaverse generator will win if we get 7 of these. So we don't even need to kill the enemies. We just need to get to that point. Now that's going to be a little more difficult because the Chaos Whim is decreasing our income consistently. So it's going to be harder to save the money we need to get to that point, but we should still be able to, I think. I'm going to go ahead and replace one of our stock exchanges with a retail store so that we can get that discount, and it's just good for us overall. We'll keep discounting things. And try to get to 1910 here so that we can get an upgrade, which means saving money, which of course is costing us money from the Chaos Whim, but that's okay. We should have the income to push over that total. As the enemies continue to push forwards, we'll eventually start hacking their towers. I'm going to save up a couple hacks because I want to get enough units that we can kill the tower during the duration of a couple hacks. Because that way we'll be able to kill all of the enemies much faster. For this character, I usually don't bother doing the, let's get the Marines fire missiles. That just gives us a little more damage at early on. For this character, I usually don't bother doing the ecology station and janitorial factory thing. We're just planning to win with these metaverse generators anyways as soon as we hit tier 5. So we just need to get to that point. You don't need to spend a lot of effort or brain power thinking about that. And we're going to put down a few more units. We have the parts income to support that for now. I do need a little more parts income, so let's drop a tax office here. Because these AI components do cost parts to use, and our retail stores do as well. Go ahead and overload those, and we'll put that here for now. Now I'm just going to hack, I think, because I think we should have the damage to clear... I guess a lot of our units are spider mines, which I usually don't build, but we should be able to stack up a decent damaging force in the course of a few hacks against this tower. And let's hack again. And then these back towers are just going to clear the enemies, so we won't face any enemies. I'll do an upgrade here. This will get us another relic and make sure we're keeping control over the gold mine as long as I keep using the hacks. You can see that the hack time remaining is displayed, so we can always just hit it again as soon as it comes off cooldown. And once I've built up enough marines as a force here, we will be able to kill all of the enemies that we're facing. We've also got enough parts income to support our unit production. That's all we really care about for this character. Because again, we're planning to win with these metaverse generators. Of course, you can play Claire normally and just build units as well, but she's got the alternate win condition, so might as well make use of it, and that's a very simple way to win the game, as long as you keep pressure on the enemies, break their towers, and then keep upgrading. So now we're level 4 here. I'm going to pause. I'll buy a relic, and we could go with combat mecha regenerates health. We could go with empty tiles produce money, but we don't intend to keep empty tiles. So let's make sure we're continuing to keep up with enemy damage output. And then, yeah, I'll go with the guard upgrade as well. Do a reroll here, and I'll overload this one firearms factory. We're going to pass on the ecology station. I just need to get to 3,000 or 4,000 gold here. And keep re-rolling, and we'll buy some gold income items. I'm going to save up for 2 hacks, and then we'll try to siege down this next tower as well. So you can see the Chaos Whim is definitely costing me a bunch of money, but that's okay. I will be able to get to 4,000, and now we don't really care about our income anymore. I'll drop down another gun factory since we have the upgrade for the Marines, and we'll buy a tax office again. That will keep my parts income high enough that we should be able to continuously produce these units. Then I'm going to hack here, because we have a decent critical mass of these combat mecha. So we can use those to clear the enemy tower and get yet another tower upgrade. We've also got the trading post captured now, so we should be getting a couple buildings for free. And we got this tower kill as well. Go ahead and pick up a unit. Airship summons drones is always really good, so we'll take that. We might actually win before we get the 7 metaverse generators thing, because I am kind of overwhelming the enemies. We started with this Chaos Whim, we started with a huge bonus, of course, because we had so much starting gold. I'll do another hack here, and we can try to kill a couple more towers. We'll buy a relic, and let's go with... I'll do a reroll here, and how about Crushing Fist? We'll get some more assembly workshops. I'll keep making money, because I definitely need more money. When you buy a building, you get a free reroll, effectively. So, well, it costs how much the building costs, but you get a reroll. So if you buy buildings, you can keep searching for more of these metaverse generators while also enhancing your economy or damage output. So let's go ahead and get, sure, another assembly workshop, and then I'm going to get another gun factory because it's cheap. I'm not finding more metaverse generators, so I might just go for just a classic win here. So we'll take a free reroll. I'm gonna... Next enemy wave is delayed for 1 second. That's a fun building, so let's put that down. I'm starting to run out of parts, though, because I've bought a bunch of buildings and we don't have free unit production here. So let's get some... We'll sell out of our cheap unit production buildings, get a little more parts production as well, just to make sure that we're keeping up. Then I will hack so that we can probably kill these turrets. And we'll keep doing some rerolls as well. I could now, at this point, go for the janitorial office thing. We probably will find more metaverse stations faster. I'm making enough money, I can honestly just do rerolls for the full price. And we just need 7, which means I just need 5 more of these. So let's just do that. We'll just hunt for them. So I'm just going to keep doing rerolls. Not finding that many. We're getting a little unlucky on that. But let's keep rolling and rolling. And rolling and rolling. There's one. So we'll sell, we'll buy. We'll roll. We'll roll. I'm definitely going to roll past these. As soon as I have the hack available, I'm just going to hack immediately. We are, because I'm not building unit production starting, and we're running out of parts, we're starting to get pushed back. But all we need is to have enough money that we can buy these metaverse generators. So as long as I don't wildly overspend, we should be okay. Looks like we destroyed an enemy tower as well. Let's go ahead and take the helicopter factory. So we'll put one of those down because it's free. Keep doing some re-rolling here. There's another metaverse generator, so I'll drop that one. We've got now 5. So I just need 2 more. A missile turret, I'm going to pass on. I guess I can sell that, right? So I can place it and sell it, get a little bit of extra gold. And I'm going to sell out of a couple of my cheap buildings here, because my parts production is getting kind of overwhelmed while I'm doing all these rerolls. And then we've got one more metaverse generator, and we'll keep doing some more rerolling. And there's the last one, we just need to save up 800. So let's sell out of a couple more expensive buildings, get our 800, and there we go, we have won the game with Claire. So I think that this character is the easiest dwarf to win with. You can either just push using your hacking to destroy enemy buildings, or you can go for the metaverse generator win, which also works extremely well. You just get an advantage and then just keep re-rolling until you find those, and it's a free win. Alright, that was pretty fast and very fun, so let's go ahead and just do one more, and I'm going to play 6W-4LF, which I guess is pronounced Dwarf. And with Dwarf, we have 3 different modes. I just like saying Dwarf. We have 3 different modes, and each of them affects our buildings differently. So in Annihilation mode, you fire artillery at random enemy units. In Energy Saving mode, every building costs 10% less to use, and in Construction mode, you get extra materials, or extra parts, and then you also get bonuses dependent for your specific buildings, depending on what mode you're in. So let's go ahead and play with that. You can see here, we start with forging modules, and these give you 30, they cost 30 gold, but give you 60 gold. So it's just pure profit. In construction mode, output becomes 60 parts capacity instead. So here I'm going to go with a gun factory, and I will still put down some parts workshops and recycling stations because we might as well, but let's also get a research module. So again, this costs parts and produces parts. So again, just pure profit. We are currently in annihilation mode, so I do want to switch to energy saving mode, but let's go ahead and place down our buildings first. And what else can we get? I'm gonna pass on the stock exchanges here. The forging modules basically do the same thing. So I'll do a quick re-roll here, and let's do a construction office, because I want at least one of those. We'll do a parts workshop. We'll do another construction office, and then we'll build this research module. Let me swap to energy saving mode, so all my buildings are cheaper now. And then also in energy saving mode, the research module gives double effectiveness. So let's go to ×2 speed here. I do wish that this game had faster speed upgrades. That is one thing that I really would like. And we're going to try to get as many research modules down as I can, but I also do obviously want to get to the next shop level. So I do need fewer parts workshops and more recycling stations. So we'll pick up a recycling station. And actually, I've kind of changed my mind. I'm not going to skip the stock exchanges. We'll buy those as they show up. Parts workshops, we don't really need as much because we're getting tons of parts from the research modules as well. So each research module in energy saving mode is worth, it costs 16 and is worth 80. So it's very, very powerful. And here I'm going to wait for a stock exchange. We've also got our gold mine, so let's put down the stock exchange. We'll put down the research module. Actually, it doesn't seem to be... I guess it's just going twice as fast. Building gains double the effect in energy saving mode, which we're currently in. should currently be in anyways. We are, yeah, currently in energy saving mode. Interesting. That's all right. I'm going to overload these forging modules also. I forgot to do that. Build some more recycling stations. We have plenty of parts income, and the research modules will support that. So again, we just want to boost our income as much as possible with all of these recycling stations, research modules, and I'll overload a stock exchange as well. I need a couple more gun factories in order to not get overwhelmed by the enemy attacks here. Don't want to let them get to my base, if possible. More research modules because they're free, recycling stations because they just build off the research modules and give me extra cash. And I'm basically just going to use my tiles here just to get our initial economy set up online. And now that we've got enough research stations, we should be able to very quickly get extra income. I'm not currently maintaining control over the gold mine, so I would like to get a couple more units, but here we are at tier 2. Let's get our relic, and here I'm going to just go with enemy towers produce 3, so that's just 12 income per second. That's not that good. Let's go with minus 60% attack for enemy towers, because that's just going to help us push. I'll dedicate this whole row to economy building, so I'm just going to do that, and then here we go. We've got another forging module, and we'll overload that for even more cash. Put up a couple security modules as well. Oops, I meant that was a dormitory. I misclicked there. But we'll get some forging modules down for even more income. Retail stores are especially good for this character because your buildings produce the resource that they spend. So if you reduce the cost, it just makes them more efficient. So let's go ahead and make this column cheaper. Then I will upgrade. I need some more units, but we'll do a forging module, and we'll do another explosives factory just to keep pushing, and we'll drop a security center as well. The chaos whim here is that every 10 seconds, damage all units for 10% of their max HP, so that's part of why we're having a little bit of trouble controlling the gold mine, is that our units are getting damaged. But that's better for us than it is for the enemies right now, because their units are pushing further, so they're taking more damage ticks than we are. Take a relic here, and let's go with, how about +2 part capacity when an enemy dies. We'll drop another retail store and overload it. I'll drop another research module for more parts capacity, and drone factory will help us start pushing a little bit. All right. This character's unique unit here is the War module, in which outputs Ascendance, which is a powerful ranged unit, and then in Annihilation mode, they get double attack. Now, we don't want to swap off of energy saving mode yet, because I still want to make sure that our income is high, but when we do swap off of that, the Ascendance will be really good. You can see that they do 17 base damage, so it'll do 34 damage, which is about triple what our other units do. When we overload it. I'm also saving money, because again, we want to boost to the next level here, but let's do a quick reroll, put down a drone factory, just to make sure that we're continuing to push and get a little bit of damage and chip damage on the turret, try to maintain control over the gold mine, and so on. I've got plenty of parts income right now from my research modules, so we're happy with that. And to briefly pause for a second there, but we are back, and we can go, we have enough money, we can just go straight to tier 5 on this character, so let's do a reroll. I could start specialty chipping. I would want to swap to Annihilation mode before I use the specialty chip, probably, because that's the mode we're going to want to try to end the game on, but let's just drop another drone factory, and then we'll take a relic here. Dormitories we don't need. Let's just go with the adventure map. We'll be able to refresh our relics soon, and that can get me some extra tiles. And of course, this character can use the ecology station janitorial office combo. So we're going to put down this ecology station and then overload it so we can start getting value from that right away. Build some more economy buildings and then do some more rerolls. Couple recycling stations. Here's a janitorial office, so I'm going to swap that into here. And I'm going to overload the janitorial office so we can start getting the discounts really fast. I'm also going to do a quick reroll. We'll drop a forging module, firearms factory. I'm just trying to reroll here until we find more janitorial stations so we can get the infinite free everythings. Let's get plus 30% attack from one weapon container is really good. We just don't need to sell these. And I'll do some rerolls. I'll drop a forging module. The tiles disappeared out from under me. I'm starting to be a little bit lower on parts production, so let's put down a training school here. Remember, we don't have the doubled training school production from last time, so these are just minus 100 gold for plus 100 parts. So we'll keep building those, build some assembly workshops. All right, here we go, a second janitorial office. This is what we were looking for. And then I will overload that as well so we can get these discounts stacking up as quickly as possible. I'm going to be able to delete this tower, and I'm going to reroll. We have very cheap rerolls. But do I want to get the drone or the helicopter? I think the helicopter relic is good enough to not reroll. So I'll take that. We get 2 free helicopter buildings as well, which is definitely solid. Still making tons of money because we have all of these forging modules that are constantly producing cash. So we're happy to do that, and then we spend that money on our ecology station making more tiles, and then those tiles get turned into discounts at the janitorial office. Same plan as last time. You can see we're pushing the enemies back really fast. I'm going to put down another firearms factory. Basically, I'm going to build the tier 5 buildings just kind of as they show up, so that we are ready with a big stack of buildings that we want to get discounts on. So let's start moving our most expensive buildings into the same column, just to make that easy to do. We get another relic here. I don't want folding bed. I do want my overloaded buildings to have processing speed bonuses. We're not going to build that many spider mines, so let's just roll here, roll again, and I think I'll just take the coffee machine. 6 extra overloads is so good. So let's go ahead and overload all of our firearms factories because they get extra range, and all our helicopters because they get extra armor. And what else do I want to overload? Drones get some benefits, so let's overload those buildings as well. Do a reroll here, and I'll keep putting down like some parts offices and stuff, just to make sure our parts income is high before our discount has stacked up fully. Destroyed a tower, and then we've already got some drone bonuses, so let's get some more drones down. I could swap to annihilation mode. I'm pretty happy in energy saving mode for now, because I do still want the discount until my janitorial offices have finished stacking up. Let's pick up the Tyrant Buster. I'm actually not going to put it down because I really want these extra tiles to work a few more times so that our janitorial offices get the max discount. So I'm going to wait for these to tick a few more times. We got minus 100, we got minus 90, but that's including 2 discounts from the retail stores. So then we should be able to put these out elsewhere. Let me drop a parts workshop because my parts income is starting to decrease. And then these have ticked enough that we can probably start discounting all our other buildings for free. Firearms factory will drop, and a drone factory. We're still getting drone benefits. We'll drop in airship dock, and let's do another reroll for a helicopter factory. You can see our costs are starting to drop significantly from the janitorial offices again. We're also just pushing the enemies back to their base already. Now, I've overspent a little on my parts production, but that will quickly sort itself out with the janitorial office, so let's swap to annihilation mode. And then we're going to get the benefits of the extra 100% damage bonus that our ascendants get in annihilation mode. We've only actually built 1 war module. There's another one. Building tier 5 buildings as much as possible here. All right, so that column's finished. It's all at minus 100%. That column's finished, so let's do that, and we'll swap in some more buildings that take parts production, because that's our current bottleneck. And then we can kind of just watch things go. You see the artillery from Annihilation mode is really stacking up. Let's get an energy station. We'll get some more overloads going. Pick up some more war modules for more ascendants, because they just do so much damage. We are now... The opposite thing was happening, where our units are traveling further, so the chaos effect that was dealing damage to them constantly was hurting us more than the opponents, but we were so far ahead, we stacked up so many high-tier units, we were just able to wildly overwhelm them. So you can see there that with Dwarf, or a lot of the other dwarves have ways to avoid the main mechanic. You can just stack up to really high tier units really quickly. Ignore low tier units when you're playing the dwarves, because their low tier units are weak. But if you get to the highest tier units, then the double janitorial office combo alongside the fact that your units are just better than the enemy units in the late game will let you win any dwarf game easily. All right, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed these runs, and I hope they help you get some wins in There Are No Orcs. This is definitely one of the trickier factions, but hopefully I've shown you how to get wins with it. If there are any heroes that you are struggling with, definitely let me know in the comments, and I'll let you know how I beat them, or if there's any unlocks that you're not sure about how to get, I can answer those questions as well. As always, of course, if you have enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more There Are No Orcs, possibly. I'm still having a lot of fun with this game, so I may well come back to it. And other strategy game analysis. Cheers, my friends. I'll catch you next time.